Orla. Minister, I'm grouped with this question and I thank you for that, but it's a specific question. Has your attention been drawn to this report? If so, have you read it? If so, do you agree with the recommendation that the government can afford to borrow and to build the necessary housing? That's very specifically the question, and I ask that in the context of a severe housing crisis. Telling me that we've doubled our budget has nothing to do with the question that's been asked, and if you could address the question, because we have a housing crisis. I come from a city in Galway where people are on the waiting list 15 years, where there are absolutely maybe 1 or 2 properties within the cap of HAP, and HAP, which started off at a very low price, brought in by Labour and Fine Gael in 2014, has now risen to 1.4 billion. That's the figure I'm taking from the ESRI report. So if you could deal with the report, there are some points in it that I don't agree with, but I'm asking for your viewpoint. Are you aware of it, and what's your opinion on it? What are you going to do about it? Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy. Deputy Connolly, yes, I'm aware of it. Yes, I've read it. I agree with some of it, but not all of us. And am I going to act on it? I'm facing many different demands to increase borrowing at the moment, so I can't commit to any particular action in relation to additional borrowing for one policy area, because that has to be done in the context of the budget, and that will be done in the context of the budget later on in the year. And I do think it's relevant, Deputy, to make a point about previous levels of capital investment when we're talking about how there might be need to increase capital investment in the future.
Thank you, Cahirley. Minister, thank you for your directness. You might tell me what you disagree with, because I've highlighted here some of the things that the ESRI said. They said without significant investment, another decade is looming of inadequate housing supply, upward rents, upward costs of houses. It sets out that 1 in 3 households who weren't in receipt of housing supports were in trouble prior to the pandemic. They were paying so much on rent, mortgage, etc. They say that it could reduce expenditure. If we borrow at very low rates, build houses, it could reduce government expenditure. It tells us, and I want to correct something I said, that the HAP is 1.4 million in total. That's the cumulative cost to date and rising. Now, do you disagree with any of those? And if you do, what is your solution to the homelessness that's costing a huge amount, to HAP, to RAS and so on? What is your solution? Are they just inevitable byproducts of your ideology?
The Connolly's question regarding my views on the report, I believe there are things missing in the report. The report makes, I believe, not adequate recognition of the capacity constraints that our economy has and the difficulties that our construction sector has in growing in scale to deliver the housing output that we need. What I believe is also missing in the report is an acknowledgement of the multiple other competing demands that I and the government face, and the need we will have at the right point to begin to change our level of borrowings. That's an answer to your question. They are what I believe is missing in the report there.